In this video, I'm going to go through the 4 things you need to know when it comes to creating real wealth in your life. These are things that came up in Michael Kemp's book, Creating Real Wealth. Hi friends, my name is Sanji, and on this channel I talk about personal finance and investing for everyday Australians. Now when you think about it, when it comes to our personal finances, the reason most of us screw it up is because it comes down to us failing in one or more of these 4 areas. How we earn money, how we save money, how we invest it, and how we choose to spend it. Now I know for some people and in some cultures or in some countries even, the topic of money is a bit taboo. People don't really like to talk about it. But it's unfortunate because money actually controls a lot of our lives if you really think about it. I mean, it determines what time you wake up. It determines what you do Monday to Friday. And for some of us, not all, but for some of us, we don't enjoy the process of earning money in our current jobs. Now, for most of us, we think solutions to our money problems basically comes from earning more money. Like if I had more money, I'd be fine. Sanj, if I had $1 million, I'd be fine. But can I direct your attention to 4 famous people in our history? Mozart, Rembrandt, MC Hammer, and Michael Jackson. All these 4 people had the same issue. They all struggled with their finances even though they earned tons of money. MC Hammer at one point had earned $30 million from selling his records, but then at one point was declared bankrupt with $13 million in debt. Michael Jackson was sometimes described as someone who had a billionaire lifestyle but with a millionaire income. Now Michael Jackson also had a few other issues he had to deal with. Personal finances may not have been on the top of his list. Mozart and Rembrandt were both people who, when they started to get popular, lived very expensive lifestyles, and at times towards the end of their life actually struggled with their finances. This whole idea of creating wealth and being quite well off financially is not solved by just earning more money. There's a lot more to it. So a couple of the things that Michael Kemp talks about when it comes to the first segment, which is around earning money, is first of all, avoid at all costs get rich quick schemes. They never work, and if anything, they'll give you that temporary high, but then you'll totally be screwed with your personal finances down the track. Secondly, enjoy the process of making money. Don't necessarily try and delay things just because you're trying to make money or delay your life. Because the reality is, if you think you go to university or you finish school, maybe you start earning in your 20s, and you're probably going to retire in your 60s, late 60s, maybe early 70s, possibly, depending on how the superannuation world is going. That means you end up spending 40 years of your life working so that you earn enough money to retire for the last 20, maybe 30 years of your life. Now, when it comes to saving money, we all are terrible at it. There are so many excuses that we've all used or we've all heard at some point. One of them is, money is for spending, not for saving. Another is, why would you save your money when you could put it towards creating your own happiness with buying things today? Or another is, and this is one I've heard before, is, it's just money, Sanji. More will come next week. You'll get more next fortnight. Why are you so fussed about saving money? And a lot of these excuses are based on the simple premise that the only way to be happy is to be spending money. To consume money generates happiness, and to save money generates unhappiness. But what Kemp points out in his book is this thinking is a little bit flawed, because if you think about it, when you spend money, you then lose that money on your happiness, but you have to go back and earn money. If the only way you earn money is by trading your time to earn money, then every time you spend money, you then have to go back to that job to earn more money to then help pay your bills and live your life. So you're creating a bit of a cycle where you're not happy with the job you have, you spend money to give you temporary happiness, but then you have to go back to the job that you're not happy with to earn money to then still be happy. We need to reframe the whole concept of saving money. It's not this thing that stops you from being happy. It's this thing that actually unlocks happiness for you in the long term. For example, when you save money, you're creating capital in your life. You can use that capital to invest. When you invest, that money then earns you an additional income in your life. And that income is passive income because you don't need to trade your time to earn that income. That income is earned separate from your time. And as that income builds up, you can potentially reduce the amount of time that you spend working full time because you are earning money on the side from all these other investments or these businesses or whatever you have on the side. Then you can choose how you spend your time to be happy or to help people or to do whatever you want, while your money is being made through programs or projects or whatever it is that doesn't rely on you trading your time for it. And this all basically connects to 2 points around saving money does lead to long-term wealth. And this is confirmed by some research done by some scientists a few years ago, back in the 2000s, where they confirmed one of the biggest predictors of generating wealth or having wealth in your life was your savings ratio, not your income. Let that sink in. One of the biggest predictors of having wealth in your life, and in this case we're assuming wealth leads to happiness, was your savings ratio, not your income. They actually found that high income was no guarantee of high net worth. And sometimes you have to stop and you have to think about it and you think, well, who are some of the people or who are some of the industries where I know people are earning large amounts of money? You know, we all kind of know some people out there who are earning very high levels of income, but are possibly not really saving or using it wisely. They live an expensive lifestyle, they look successful, but are they actually wealthy if you looked at their finances? Or is it all based on credit and buying temporary things or buying things that are all liabilities essentially and that will depreciate over time? Now, with all that being said though, I appreciate, along with you, that the whole process of saving money just sucks. Like, let's be honest, it's such a passive process. All you do is you transfer money from one account into another bank account. It's so boring. At least when you buy something, you get something tangible, you get that rush, you get that excitement. But the whole idea of saving money is such a passive, boring thing. I would sometimes have to get a book out where I have boxes and I have markers saying, all right, when I hit this savings goal, it'll be so exciting I can put a cross through. And then that would take too long to get from one savings goal to another savings goal. So I have to break down the savings goal to being even smaller. Like $100 saving increments was like happiness for me. And actually Kemp spends a whole chapter talking about why we don't save. And he covers off on various topics, like he introduces this whole concept around how your self-esteem is associated with your success divided by your expectations. He's essentially saying your self-esteem is directly correlated with your success, but inversely correlated with your expectations. He also mentions this idea called income amnesia, which is essentially where as people earn more and more money, they forget how they actually manage to survive on less and less money. It's this whole idea that you and I may have encountered at some point where we get a pay bump or we get a new job, we earn more money, and we somehow find a way to spend all that money. So we're still saving the same amount of money as we were before, we're saving even less, we're not even saving at all, even though we're earning progressively more and more money in our life. So you get to the point where you think saving money is hard, it's annoying, no one likes doing it, and yet it is the key step towards actually being financially secure and having created real wealth in your life. So moving on to the next and most exciting part, I think for a lot of you, is the whole idea of investing your money. So you've earned it, you've saved it, now we need to invest it. Where and how do we invest it? Now it's interesting, in Kemp's book, he actually dedicates quite a few chapters to this topic around investing. But he doesn't actually cover the things that you would expect, where he kind of says this is how you assess companies, this is where you should put your money. He actually builds you a nice framework. He gives you good theories, he gives you good concepts. Let me give you a few examples. He talks about the efficient market hypothesis. He talks about emotion and decision making. He talks about how intelligence doesn't guarantee success when it comes to investing. This part was actually quite interesting, where he talked about Sir Isaac Newton and how he completely screwed up his finances at one point. Well, he didn't screw up, he just lost a lot of money on the share market. This is Isaac Newton. This is the person who did the whole gravity thing. You know, apples fell on his head, gravity, 3 laws of motion. This is all his stuff. Smartest person in his time, and yet he still managed to lose 20,000 pounds at one point back in the 1700s, which was actually equal to about $1 million in today's money. Now, it didn't make him bankrupt, but he lost $1 million. It makes you realize intelligence is probably not the key thing to managing your finances. And Kemp doesn't leave you there. He then tells you about all these misperceptions that everyday people have when it comes to managing our finances. Some of these are overconfidence, false predictions, illusion of control, overtrading, that's where you buy and sell too much, falling in love with the stock, that's when you buy a share and it goes really well and you keep hanging on to it even though it starts to go down in value, selling too early, where maybe your share goes up 10%, you're like, I'm out, but it keeps going up. How do you know? When do you know to sell? or the whole idea of impatience. You're always trying to trade and make decisions and make deals on the share market. So I actually really like the way Kemp has done this, is instead of going into the whole topic of hot stock tips and how you should invest your money, he basically sets you a framework of how you should think about when it comes to investing your money, how you should reality check yourself, because some of the smartest people in the world struggle with investing their money. And I actually really like the way Kemp basically closes off this whole chapter or this whole series around investing with the following quote: "Dollar cost averaging into an index fund or a managed fund is therefore a recipe which, if followed, should bring long-term investment success. It brings together the principles of saving, discipline, and diversification." So he does this whole multiple chapters around investing and talking about the various frameworks, the emotions, the misperceptions that we all have, and concludes by saying your best bet is probably just investing in index funds, which are ETFs, which I've done a whole bunch of videos about, and you can check my channel out, and you can check out some of the links or check out the playlist at the end of the video where I basically talk about ETFs. But I love how he just concludes by saying dollar cost averaging, that's where you just set how much you want to invest, and every month, regardless of what's happening in the share market, you don't try and figure out if it's at the top or at the bottom, if it's cheap or if it's expensive. Just every month you set aside $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, and you just invest it in an index fund consistently. Now, the final thing that Kemp says in his book around creating real wealth that we all need to know is around how we can spend our money in a smart, intelligent way and actually enjoy our money. And he has some amazing quotes in here. Let me just throw them out. "A lot of people don't desire to be rich. They just desire to be richer than other people." It's kind of true for me, let's be honest. And that actually links up really well to his next point, where he says if you don't really have a target or an aim around your generating of wealth, you end up just trying to accumulate more. You think more is better. And he kind of sums up this area by saying having a really wealthy life, and this is something that the Greek philosophers knew back many, many years ago, having a wealthy life really comes down to three things. It's around having friends who are around you, who love you and support you. It's around having freedom to do the things that you enjoy doing and not necessarily having to work and earn money through trading your time, but being able to spend your time doing on things that you actually care about, and also having a considered life where you're pursuing a life of meaning. Now, a bit of that sounds a bit wishy-washy, but it all kind of makes sense. Like, let's imagine for a second if you actually spent your days, Monday to Friday, Monday to Sunday, working on things that you really actually cared about, and it actually also earned you money. Or working on things that you really cared about, but you were earning money through other means. That's really the goal of generating real wealth in your life. So I hope you guys found that useful. If you're interested in checking out Michael Kemp's book, click on the link in the description below. It is an affiliate link, which basically means at no additional cost to you, I'll get a small fee for any purchases that you make from Amazon after you click on that link, especially if you buy this particular book. So please do that if that's something you're interested in. Now, if you're interested in any of my videos around investing, especially that middle segment around ETFs or investing in the share market, make sure you check out the playlist over here. And if you're interested in any of my other videos around books or book reviews that I've done, check out this playlist over here. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.